I've heard a lot of messed up stories in my life, but there are a few that stay with me no matter how much time passes. And I always wonder why those particular ones get stuck in my head. Maybe it's because they shake something inside me. Something I didn't even know was fragile. When Emma told me what happened to her, I remember sitting there speechless for a good minute, staring at her like I had forgotten how to form words. And honestly, I still think about her story at random moments, like when I'm cooking or waiting in line somewhere. It just creeps back into my mind, reminding me how twisted people can be, especially the ones we trust the most. Because betrayal from a stranger hurts, but betrayal from blood? That destroys you. And Emma learned that in the cruelest way possible. Emma was 24, a quiet girl with soft eyes and a smile that always looked like she hadn't fully decided if she should trust the world yet. She lived with her mother, Claire, a woman who at first glance seemed warm, composed, the type who always had tea ready when someone came over. I met Claire only once, long before everything unfolded, and I remember thinking she had an unusual intensity behind her eyes, something you couldn't name but definitely felt. The kind of gaze that lingered too long, as if she was calculating something. Back then I didn't think much of it. We all know people who stare too hard. But looking back, that moment plays in my head like a foreshadowing scene in a movie. Emma had a boyfriend named Ryan. And you know those guys who are good-looking and charming but in a soft, disarming way? That was him. Not overly perfect, not suspiciously polite. Just normal. The kind of guy who laughs at his own jokes and carries heavy grocery bags without being asked. If someone had told me that out of all the people in Emma's life, he would be the one tied to the biggest betrayal she'd ever face, I wouldn't have believed it. But that's the thing about life. It loves using the people we least expect. Emma and her mother weren't close, not in the traditional mother-daughter way. They lived in the same house, shared meals, exchanged conversations, but everything between them felt measured. Like each of them kept part of themselves locked away. Claire was strict but not openly harsh, distant yet always observing. And Emma, well, she never pushed against the walls her mother built. She just learned to live inside them. When Ryan entered Emma's life, he was like fresh air in a house that had forgotten to open the windows. He encouraged her to speak up, to take risks, to consider a life outside the tiny boundaries her mother had drawn. And strangely, or maybe not strangely at all, Claire seemed to approve of him instantly. More than approve. She liked him. Too much. You know when you look back at events and suddenly every puzzle piece shines like a neon sign saying, "How did you miss this?" Yeah, that's what happened to Emma. But at the time, everything felt normal. The first odd thing happened on a Wednesday evening. Emma had come home from work exhausted, the kind of exhaustion that makes your bones ache. She walked into the kitchen and found her mother and Ryan sitting at the table, drinking tea and talking like they'd been friends for years. Claire laughed at something he said. A soft laugh, the kind you say for people you're trying to charm, and Ryan smiled back politely. Emma didn't think much of it then. After all, they lived in the same house. It wasn't impossible for them to talk while she wasn't around, but something about the atmosphere felt off. Not hostile, not inappropriate, just slightly misaligned. Like walking into a room where someone had moved the furniture half an inch. She brushed it off. Anyone would. But that was only the beginning. Over time, Claire started asking too many questions about Ryan. Not the typical motherly concerns. Not, is he treating you well? Or do you love him? No. Claire asked where he worked on certain days, what time he finished, whether he usually came by after work or if he stopped anywhere first. She asked for details that didn't belong to a mother, but to someone trying to sync schedules. Still, Emma trusted her mother. Suspecting something darker never crossed her mind. One night, Emma realized she had left her phone charger in the living room. When she walked in, she saw her mother on the couch, legs crossed, talking on the phone with a tone far too gentle for her usual conversations. Emma didn't think much of it until she heard a name. Ryan. Her stomach tightened, but before she could fully process the moment, her mother casually ended the call and smiled. It was nothing, Claire said. And Emma, quiet, conflict-avoidant Emma, let it slide. I remember Emma telling me that part with a hollow laugh, the kind you make when you're trying not to cry. She said she wanted to believe that her mother was simply involved, maybe overly involved, but still harmless. She didn't want to imagine a world where her boyfriend and her mother shared secrets she wasn't part of. But small signs kept piling up. There were moments when Emma walked into a room and felt like a conversation had just died. Times when she found the two of them standing strangely far apart, as if they had moved too quickly or too slowly. Times when her mother complimented Ryan's shirts, his hair, his cologne. Compliments that lingered in the air, heavy with meaning Emma couldn't quite decipher at the time. Still, she pushed the thoughts away. People don't jump to the worst conclusions about the two people they trust the most. They just don't. One particular day stood out in Emma's memory. It was a Saturday afternoon, not too hot, not too cold, the kind of day that tricks you into thinking life is stable. Emma had planned to spend the day with Ryan. They were supposed to grab brunch, walk around the city, maybe watch a movie later. But Ryan showed up late, extremely late, and when he finally arrived, he looked flustered, nervous. His hair was slightly messed up, like he had rushed somewhere, and he smelled faintly of a perfume Emma didn't recognize. When she asked where he'd been, he said traffic. Just traffic. She believed him. Why wouldn't she? But something inside her shifted a little, like a soft crack in glass. Later that day, when they finally made it back home, she noticed her mother was unusually dressed up for someone who claimed to be cleaning the house. Makeup, earrings, fresh lipstick, and the same unfamiliar scent Emma had smelled earlier. Emma told me this part with a long pause afterward, like she was still processing it even months later. She said, "I thought she just wanted to feel pretty," and I told her gently, "People who want to feel pretty don't usually reapply lipstick at home on a Saturday afternoon for no reason." But the human brain is incredible at lying to itself when the truth is too painful. The turning point came unexpectedly. Emma was coming home from work earlier than usual because her boss had dismissed the entire team after a system crash. She didn't text ahead because she thought she'd just surprise her mother and maybe take her out for dinner. But when she entered the house, something felt wrong immediately. The living room was too quiet, the air too still, the curtains slightly out of place, as if someone had moved them quickly. At first, she assumed her mother was out, but then she heard something, soft voices coming from down the hall. Her mother's room. Emma hesitated, thinking maybe she had visitors. Claire had friends. Nothing strange about that. But then she heard a second voice. A male voice. Familiar one. And it hit her so hard she almost dropped her keys. Ryan. Her brain rejected the sound instantly. Couldn't be him. It was impossible. He wasn't supposed to be anywhere near her house at that hour. Her heart began pounding so violently she thought it might burst through her chest. She took slow steps toward the door. Each one felt heavier than the last. The closer she got, the clearer the voices became. She couldn't make out the words, just tones. Low, intimate, wrong. Part of her wanted to walk away. Pretend she had never come home early. Pretend her life wasn't seconds away from shattering. But some truths drag you toward them whether you're ready or not. Her hand reached the doorknob. She heard a soft laugh, her mother's laugh. A laugh she hadn't heard in years. A laugh that wasn't meant for her. Then Ryan's voice, gentle, lowered, followed by silence. The kind of silence that tells you everything. Emma didn't open the door. She couldn't. She stood there frozen, tears falling before she even realized she was crying. Her entire reality twisted, and suddenly nothing made sense. The timeline of her life crumbled on itself. Every smile, every conversation, every moment she shared with Ryan and her mother blended into one monstrous truth she wasn't prepared to face. She backed away slowly, her breath uneven, her hands shaking uncontrollably. She walked out of the house without making a sound, as if not being heard would somehow make the truth less real. I remember asking her, "What were you thinking in that moment?" She looked down and whispered, "I was thinking, how could they do this to me? How could I not see it?" And that question haunted her more than the betrayal itself. Emma didn't confront them that night. She couldn't bring herself to do it. She didn't sleep either. She stayed in her car outside a closed cafe, gripping the steering wheel until her fingers went numb, replaying every interaction she'd ever witnessed between the two of them. Suddenly, every small moment she brushed off came back like a punch to the stomach. The late-night calls, the whispering, the sudden closeness, the way her mother wore nicer clothes when Ryan came over, the way Ryan always defended her mother, even when it didn't make sense. Everything. She felt stupid. But she wasn't stupid, she was betrayed. There's a difference. The next morning, She walked into the house like a ghost. Her mother greeted her with a smile that made Emma sick. Ryan texted her, asking if she wanted to grab lunch later. The audacity made her dizzy. The two people who shattered her heart stood there acting like nothing happened. Emma didn't respond. But her silence, that was the beginning of the storm. And trust me, the storm that followed was far worse than anything she had imagined. When Emma walked through the front door the morning after hearing her mother and Ryan together, she felt like she was stepping into a house that no longer belonged to her. Everything looked the same. The same furniture, the same framed photos, the same faint lavender scent her mother insisted on. But the atmosphere had changed. Or maybe Emma had changed. Maybe she could finally see what had always been there. Claire was at the kitchen counter making coffee. She looked up with a warm smile, the kind of smile that once made Emma feel safe. Now that same smile made her stomach twist. "There you are," Claire said softly. "I didn't hear you come home last night." Emma swallowed hard. Her voice felt trapped in her throat. She managed a small nod, forcing her legs to move just enough to walk past her mother. She didn't trust herself to say anything yet. Her mother watched her closely, too closely but didn't press. A few minutes later her phone buzzed. She already knew who it was. "Ryan, good morning. Want to get lunch today? Miss you." She stared at the screen. Her hands trembled. The words blurred with rage. "Miss you." The same man who had been in her mother's room the night before missed her? The audacity was nauseating. She didn't reply. She couldn't. She put her phone face down and walked to her room, shutting the door quietly behind her. She sat on the bed, her fingers gripping the edge of the blanket like she needed something to tether her to reality. Her breath came out shaky. Her mind kept looping back to that moment in the hallway. The voices, the intimacy, the betrayal. How long had it been going on? How many times had it happened right under her nose? Did everyone else see it except her? The not knowing was tearing her apart. Hours passed with her just sitting there, lost in the ruins of her own thoughts. She needed answers, but she wasn't ready to confront them yet. Not until she could control the storm inside her. She waited until evening. And then the first clue finally broke through the darkness. She walked into the living room and saw her mother's phone on the couch, screen glowing with a new notification. Normally, Emma would never touch someone else's phone, especially not her mother's. But something inside her, something tired and desperate, pushed her forward. The screen lit up again. A message preview. From a name she knew better than she wished she did. Ryan. Did she suspect anything yesterday? Emma's heart slammed against her ribs. Her breath caught. Her vision sharpened painfully, like the world had just snapped into focus. So it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't a one-time mistake. They were aware. They were planning. They were lying to her together. Her knees weakened. She grabbed the side of the couch for support. She wanted to scream. She wanted to break something. She wanted to collapse. But instead she froze. Because in that moment, Emma realized something even worse. They weren't just betraying her. They were working together to hide it. Her mother walked in before she could look further. When she saw Emma standing there, too close to the phone, too pale, too quiet, her expression shifted just a little. Barely noticeable. But Emma caught it. A flicker of fear. "Is everything okay?" Claire asked. Emma forced a smile so painfully fragile she felt like it might shatter in her hands. "Fine," she whispered. She walked away before her mother could ask anything else, or before she could break down in front of her. That night Emma didn't sleep again. She lay awake staring at the ceiling, each second stretching into hours. Every memory, every interaction, every detail she had ignored came back to torture her. Her mother inviting Ryan to stay for dinner when Emma wasn't even home. Her mother's sudden obsession with her appearance. Ryan spending more time talking to Claire than to her. The weird tension. The half-finished sentences. The looks exchanged when they thought she wasn't watching. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. By sunrise, Emma wasn't sad anymore. She was angry. Angry at her mother. Angry at Ryan. Angry at herself for trusting them. And that anger lit a fire inside her. A fire that would lead her to the truth. The next day, Emma made a choice. She was going to gather proof. Not for revenge. Not even for closure. But because she needed to hear them say it. She needed them to admit it to her face. So she set her plan in motion. She told Ryan she wanted to meet him later. He agreed immediately, sounding relieved. She played along, acting confused, vulnerable, almost apologetic. She told him she had been stressed, that she needed to talk about something important. He took the bait. Then she walked into the living room where Claire was reading a magazine, acting casual, staying neutral. She told her mother she'd be out for most of the afternoon. Claire looked up, studying her as if trying to read her thoughts. "Tell Ryan I said hi," Claire said. Emma's chest tightened. The words were too casual, too familiar. Something inside her broke for real this time. She left without answering. She didn't go to meet Ryan. Instead, she parked near her house, hidden, watching. She waited. Her heart raced with every passing minute. 30 minutes later, she saw him, Ryan, walking up to her house, not looking around, not hesitating, not acting like a boyfriend visiting his girlfriend. No, he walked with purpose, like someone going to meet a lover. Emma's breath shook violently. He knocked once. The door opened. Claire let him in. And then she closed the door behind him. That was the moment Emma realized this wasn't a moment of weakness between them. It wasn't an emotional slip or a lapse in judgment. It was an affair. A real one. A long one. She felt numb as she stared at the closed door. Time froze. She couldn't even cry anymore. It wasn't sadness now, it was disbelief, betrayal, and a kind of hollow devastation she couldn't put into words. She waited a full hour before going in. An hour she spent sitting in her car, gripping the steering wheel, her body trembling with fury she'd never known before. When she finally walked to the house, every step felt heavy, like walking toward an inevitable explosion. She opened the door slowly. The house was quiet again. Too quiet. She walked down the hall. Her mother's door was slightly open, just like the day before. She didn't need to hear voices this time. She pushed the door open, and there they were. Not undressed, not caught in the act, but sitting on the bed, close enough for the meaning to be unmistakable. Ryan's hand on Claire's leg, Claire's fingers entwined with his. Both of them froze. Emma felt herself leave her own body. She stood there, hollow, detached, watching the scene like it was happening to someone else. Claire stood quickly, stepping forward. "Emma, this isn't." "Stop," Emma said. Her voice was so calm it scared her. Ryan opened his mouth to speak, but Emma held up her hand. "No," she whispered. "I want to hear you say it. Both of you." Claire's face twisted between guilt, fear, and something Emma couldn't identify. Ryan looked down like a coward. Emma stared at them, her voice cracking as she said, "How long?" They didn't answer. "How long?" she screamed this time, the agony bursting out of her. Claire flinched. Ryan swallowed hard. And finally, Claire said it. 8 months. 8 months. 8 months with her boyfriend. 8 months betraying her daughter. Emma's knees gave out, and she collapsed onto the floor, sobbing so violently she could barely breathe. She felt hands reaching toward her, but she shoved them away like they were poison. She didn't hear the rest. She didn't want to. Something inside her had shattered too deeply. She walked out of the room, out of the house, out of their lives, and she didn't look back. For weeks after that, Emma lived with a friend. She didn't answer calls. She didn't respond to messages. Her mother tried to justify her actions with fragile excuses, loneliness, confusion, emotional weakness, but Emma refused to listen. Ryan tried to, but what he destroyed could never be fixed. Emma eventually cut both of them out completely, blocked numbers, changed her address, moved forward alone. And even though she healed, the wound left a scar she still carries today. Whenever she told me the story, she always ended with one haunting question. How did I not notice? And honestly, I don't think she should blame herself. People don't expect betrayal from the people who are supposed to love them. That's why it hurts so much. Thank you for staying with me through this story. I know it was heavy, intense, and at times hard to stomach. But stories like Emma's remind us how fragile trust can be, and how important it is to protect our emotional boundaries. Every time I share something like this, I'm reminded that we never really know what someone is going through behind closed doors. Some people carry entire storms inside them, silently, hoping someone will finally understand their pain. If you reached this point, it means you stayed with me until the very end, and that honestly means more than you realize. Your presence here keeps this channel alive, helps stories like this find the people who need to hear them, and makes it possible for me to keep creating this kind of emotional, raw storytelling. So if you haven't yet, take a moment to subscribe. It helps a lot, more than you can imagine. And if you want more stories that shake you, surprise you, or make you think twice about the people around you, then stay close, because there's much more coming. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next story.